Hello there.
I'm Pickle Rick!
Let's do it, guys! Right. It's morphin' time!
Avengers! Assemble.
What's up, guys? Brennan back and today with another episode of Geek Culture Talk on the channel. Yes, it's been a while until I filmed one of these. Well, I mean, I filmed that Mandalorian, vlog style review episode a little bit ago. It's been a while since I filmed one at the table like this, so yeah. Returning the form here at the table here. And what better way to do that is with the latest Marvel movie, which is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Yes, so we're going to be reviewing that movie today, and it should be a lot of fun. So, yes, what else are we gonna talk about? I don't know. I just zoned out. It's been a while. Welcome back, folks. I don't know if you can see that little rocket guy right there. Can you see him? Am I even touching him? It's right there. I'm not sure if you can see him. He's right there. I can't tell my head being cut off either, so that's always fun. But yes, so like I said, we're talking about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, the latest movie of Marvel. It's been a while since I filmed or done a review for anything Marvel related. The last one was Moon Knight, so it's been over a year now. Not for any particular reason about not wanting to review something. I wanted to review some of them. I wanted to review Love and Thunder because I had some opinions on that one. Not good. I would like to review Black Panther also, but I mean, school kept me busy a lot of time, and Ant-Man, I reviewed Ant-Man also. School kept me very busy. I didn't really have time to do these big reviews and set up this set. But I wanted to do one of Guardians absolutely because I'm done school now. So yeah, here we are. So yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, the latest movie from Marvel, second film in Phase 5, and James Gunn's farewell and swan song to DC as he's heading off to new things now with DC. Someone in the back, he's heading off to do Batman right there. Can you see Batman? He's there. He's right there. Yeah. This is a weird introduction, I know. Alright, let's get to the actual reviews. So yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. To state my opinions quickly on the first two, I liked the first one. I found it very enjoyable. I love the second one. I actually prefer that one over the first one. I also the holiday special, also very fun. You know, it's nothing too grand or special, but holiday special is just as it's called, the holiday special. It's not meant to be anything that spectacular. Just a little fun, sweet little thing for Christmas. And yeah, and I've loved all the soundtracks as well. They're all great music, and yeah. And so yeah, we're here now for the final entry of this particular series of Guardians. I mean, I imagine we'll get another one at some point. Who knows? Possibly. It's hard to say. And we're gonna go into a just non-spoiler review first here. Then we'll talk about spoilers. Because I almost spoiled something there by accident. So there's a cut there. Yeah. So non-spoiler review first. All right. So just general initial thoughts first on the movie. I thought it was amazing. Truly, it's something special. I mean, Gunn has been definitely one of the directors of Marvel who's had, a very clear vision always. He's always had a very clear idea in mind with the Guardians. I'm someone who still actively enjoys the Marvel movies, and I love them. But yeah, Gunn's, clearly a lot of the Marvel films have had not a clear vision from a director for a lot of time, not any of their distinct styles, unless it's someone like, Sam Raimi with Doctor Strange, or Chloe Zhao with Eternals, or someone else, like Taika Waititi. Better or worse for him, I guess. Ragnarok, good. Love and Thunder, nah. But Gunn's had very clear, his style to these movies, and he brought a lot of heart to them, always a lot of humor, a lot of family dynamic there. And it really all comes together, all the movies and characters come together in a great, spectacular way in this third entry, which is definitely the pinnacle of the trilogy. It's the best one. I mean, I haven't watched it again since. I've only seen it one time. And it was amazing. Saw it in IMAX. Truly great. Yeah, it was really good. It's just everything about... If you love everything about the Guardian movies, it's all in this one. Just all the heart, the humor, the characters, just a lot of wacky stuff. It's all there, of course. But the plot of the movie being of course, our villain of the piece, the High Evolutionary, the creator of Rocket, he's back. He wants Rocket for reasons. So, of course, and now the Guardians must go on a hunt to stop the High Evolutionary before he, does his plans of acting revenge and such on Rocket and everything and all that kind of stuff. It's very vague, I guess I can go on the plot without so much spoilers. There's also the inclusion of Gamora, who is the time displaced or time variant version of Gamora from the end of Endgame, who is the version of Gamora that was from the 2014 timeline that accidentally got brought along with Nebula to the main timeline. And so she's here now, and she's part of the Ravagers, of Stallone's Ravagers, Starhawks. And yeah, she's along to help out the Guardians for this mission, and we're going to see if can Quill and Gamora rekindle that relationship, can something work out there, who knows. So, yeah. And the film goes into a lot of Rocket's backstory as, self-explanatory with the High Evolutionary being his creator. And, we have to really see what is behind this little guy, Rocket, here. And, his kind of dark, sad past he kind of has. It's not a pleasant past, indeed, not at all. And, yeah, it's definitely it's a heavier movie. It's a much more heavier movie than most of Marvel stuff. I mean, there's lately been some more heavier stuff in some of their subject matter and some of the stuff, like in terms of Falcon Winter Soldier, stuff they dealt in that film with some of racism, and also stuff with Wakanda Forever dealing with, of course, loss and how to move on, of course, Chadwick Boseman's passing and T'Challa's passing in the movie. And this one deals with a lot of heavy subject matter, also in terms of, like, animal cruelty with the High Evolutionary and some... There's stuff in this movie that I'm surprised that, like, they got away with, but, surprised that Disney let them do. But I guess that shows how much sway James Gunn can pull with Marvel or Disney, that he can do some of this stuff. Like, I'll go into some of it more in spoilers, but, like, there's some stuff it's like, damn, how do you get away with that? Like, I'm sure most people probably heard there's the first F-bomb in a Marvel movie in this film. And I like it because, like, it's not like a major thing, it's just, like, a casual thing, how it's said in the scene. And, like, yeah, and it worked really well. And there's that, and, yeah, it's just kind of crazy what he gets away with. And in this movie, I feel like, we are now not 10 years, we're now 9 years in with the character, but, like, for the characters in the MCU, it's been about 10 years or more now. I think it's, like, 2026 now, I think, in the MCU, at this point in time when the film's taking place. So their unity as a group has really formed and solidified more, Quill cares a lot more for Rocket now. What's the next thing I was going to say? Kraglin's there now, he's been more part of the group, and so is Cosmo, the dog from the first movie that we saw briefly. We also have Nebula is now part of the crew, who are now seeing Nebula more so at peace a little bit, because now with Thanos gone, so she's a bit more happy, not a bit more go-lucky, and has, friends and family, so it's very nice seeing Nebula in this more, like, warm environment and being part of a team and people that actually, like her and respect her, so that's awesome, that's all great there. And, yeah, there's a lot of great humor in this movie. Also, there's, just a lot... I'm trying to think of some stuff to say without going into spoilers. There's also the introduction of how I fit in the plot of Adam Warlock, who was teased at the end of the second film. He's great in the movie. He's a bit more childish and naive. That's just due to him being kind of still, like, fresh and young. He's still kind of learning and growing. But he's a lot of fun. Will Porter does a great job with the character. He's like naive and childish, but there's like an innocence to him, like that feels really great and genuine. He's just a lot of fun to have in the movie. I'm sure, like, maybe if we see more from him in later movies, I don't really know, that is possible. He could develop more into the more, like, powerful character he is in the comics. He's pretty powerful here, but in the comics he is much more powerful. They obviously, like, did depower him a bit for this movie, so the Guardians could fight him or handle him for the most part, because he's very powerful in the comics. Plus, he doesn't have the Soul Stone here, because they changed that whole thing, so there's that. But yeah, he's a lot of fun here in this movie. He brings a lot of great humor. Yeah, there's a lot of great humor to be had in scenes like when Quill talks about, talking to Gamora and trying to win her back over, and all the characters kind of just start knocking him for, like, keeping on the personal comm when he wasn't. It's a whole thing when they were wearing these, like, Space Odyssey-inspired suits where they're, like, multicolored, and they're telling him, like, these the buttons that represent the different colors, like red, green, blue. Like, the green button actually is yellow button, and the red button's actually blue button. The blue button's actually, like, the orange button. It's like that, and it's kind of like, it's pretty funny. And then the scene also leads to the first F-bomb, which is about them dealing with trying to open a door, which is very funny and genuine there. What's another great scene of humor in the movie? There's a scene where they go to this, like, planet that's, like, very Earth-esque. You saw it in the trailers, one of the trailers, so, like, it's very Earth-esque, and you see some funny scenes happen there, like when they're just at like in someone's home. It's just very funny because it feels very just. It really kind of shows us that weird family dynamic they have, where they're mocking each other and like giving Drax crap for like lying down on the couch, and also like Nebula knocking on Mantis for like saying something weird. Saying just like that all stuff's very good. Well, I'm blanking on some of the humor a little bit because I mean, yeah, that's not good. But yeah, I'm trying to think of some good, funny scenes. There's a great like ongoing joke about Kraglin also, calling Cosmo like a bad dog, and it's like it's pretty funny there too. And there's some great stuff when they infiltrate this like weird like organic plant thing with some like weird stuff. I don't even know what it was calling. It was something. They need something from there to help track. They need information from there to help track down the High Evolutionary. But yeah, it's a weird like organic looking thing, and there's some funny things that happen there, like with Mantis trying like putting someone under a spell there at one point, and like making them like hit on Drax, which he was like, God damn it. And then other stuff, how Drax also like mocking Mantis at one point. And this whole sequence of events in an elevator, which was also one of the trailers, how Quill sums up his life with Gamora and the events of Avengers, and Nebula's just like, that's basically the gist of it, I guess. It's all humor. But I mean, it's hard for me to think of humor in this movie a little bit, because like it's such a more dramatic movie. I mean, the whole opening of the movie is like feels very serious and very like, there's some humor there sort of, but like it's more like just kind of in the moment, but not like a very funny thing. It's more like, because you see like Rocket when the opening goes into like a bar area, and like kind of Peter's kind of drunk and calls him a raccoon, and some touching his music and everything. But he passes out drunk, so they have to carry him back to his bed. But it's not like a laugh out thing. It's more like just kind of happens in the moment, because it's a very melodramatic opening scene where you see what's going on, and like the first like I guess like 15 or so minutes of the movie, maybe that's exactly what it is. It feels very serious and like very like more. The tone is much more like hard, where it's like, yeah, there's some serious stuff happening here, and it works. It reminds me of like also with Black Panther, how it had a very serious tone, no jokes for a little bit in the opening also there, so that was great. And it's really great here too, so I really appreciate that. And yeah, and Rocket as a character develops a lot. See, now I know what to say actually, because I'm not just trying to mention humor. But Rocket as a character develops a lot. I mean, if you go back, as a lot of people have been saying lately, if you go back and watch the previous movies and even like the Avengers movies he's in, you really can see like some of the lines he says about his past, and like how in the first one he was torn apart and put back together and over. That's not a spoiler, it's in one of the first movies. But like you see all these lines, and when you watch this movie, you really see there's this whole dark history he's been kind of hiding. Not hiding so much, but like you really see that he was really bearing a lot of this down deep below, and you really get to kind of feel even more what Rocket's character is like and what he goes through, and that how so much being part of like this team of the Guardians means to him in a way. It's really great, and how much he's evolved and changed, and you see just from of course young Rocket and how High Evolutionary treat him and everything. It's very sad, very emotional stuff. Of course, like I said, the whole thing about the movie, the High Evolutionary, he does torture animals. That's like a thing about him, and thing about him in the comics also. And it's really sad, but it's done to emphasize in a way to show how it is bad. And of course PETA even like proved the movie about how it does represent how animal cruelty is not right and should not be something that we should do ever. Which I think the movie does it amazingly. It does like show how it's in a terrible light and show how it's awful. But it's done in a great way to show how Rocket has persevered and like survived over the years. I think it's done in a great way, handled very well, very smartly. So yeah, Rocket. I mean, honestly, prior to this movie and before, Rocket and Nebula are my two favorite characters. Which maybe it's ironic because they're the ones who survived in Endgame. But I don't know. I think both of them are great. Seeing them both kind of evolved in this movie was excellent. And even other stuff with the characters like Quill evolves a lot too. You show how great of a leader he is still. I mean, he kind of like, he was evolving over the years, of course, but, he was a bit more, like, goofy a bit in the Avengers movies, but now back here in Form of Gun, he's a bit more serious, and you see how he's evolved. And even Mantis is, like, evolved. She can actually get into a fight properly and, like, last long, which is great. And Groot's now also, like, more adolescent Groot. He's, like, a big dude. And he looks great. I love Groot's new design. I love Groot in the movie in general. Like, he feels like, he's on the ball the entire time. Like, just, like, it's so great. Like, there's a shot in the trailers where he's, like, holding a bunch of guns with Star-Lord firing all over the place. It's like, he's just on the ball with Groot in this movie. And even then, like, the action alone in the movie as well is, like, incredible. There's a There's this one really great like hallway fight they have. It's like one shot, and it's like James Gunn was basically saw Daredevil and was like, that's a sick ass hallway fight. Why is it not one in the Marvel movies? Yeah, you know what? I'll do it myself. And he does it, and it's like it's really sick. Like when you watch it, I'm like, I want to know when this comes out on DVD and everything. I want to watch behind the scenes of that and see how they did that. I mean, there are definitely a lot of CGI kind of movements in there, of course, because there's like Groot and Rocket. But like, it's crazy how they must have. I want to know how they shot it because like it's so crazy the movement they had to do to make sure it worked and it flowed all well. It was like just damn. And the soundtrack, of course, also the soundtrack is really great in the movie. Of course, we have stuff like Since You've Been Gone, Dog Days Are Over, No Sleep Till Brooklyn, which is the second movie by Chris Pratt this year that had No Sleep Till Brooklyn, the first being Mario, which is very funny and ironic. I have to pull up the list of the soundtrack that was in it also because I don't quite remember it. So, yeah. I don't know if it's my favorite soundtrack. I think 2 is still probably my personal favorite of, the soundtracks. So what else we got? We got stuff like Creep. We have Crazy on You. Creep by Radiohead. Crazy on You. In the Meantime, Space Hog. Reasons from Earth, Wind and Fire. Do You Realize by the Flaming Lips. We Care a Lot. Faith No More. That's definitely not one of them. Is this the right playlist? I don't know. I don't think it is. I don't know what the right one is on Spotify. Okay, I just had to look it up normally myself. Okay, so yeah, Creep by Radiohead, Crazy on You by Heart, Since You've Been Gone by Rainbow, In the Meantime by Space Hog, Reasons by Earth, Wind and Fire, Do You Realize by Flaming Lips, We Care a Lot by Faith No More, Konu no Carnival from Minute Waltz, okay, no, or performed by E. Hammock, alright. I'm Always Chasing Rainbows by Alice Cooper, San Francisco, performed by Mowgli's, Poor Girl by X, This Is the Day, performed by okay. I forgot that was her name. No Sleep Till Brooklyn by BC Boys, Dog Days Are Over by Florence Plus the Machine, Badlands performed by Bruce Springsteen, I Will Dare by The Replacements, and also Come Get Your Love by Redbone is back in this movie as well. So yeah, great soundtrack. I still think I prefer, well, no, the second one's over there. Second soundtrack CD, I think I love that one still more. This one's still pretty good too. I need to give it a few more listens though, so I can memorize it a lot more. But yeah, still a great soundtrack. Yeah. And also just, a great ending to end this trilogy off is very solid. Just a great ending also. So, yeah. I'm just going to spoilers now before we keep going because I need to talk about some spoiler stuff. So, yeah. My rating for the movie is a 10 out of 10. Like, I know, yeah, perfect rating. I mean, yeah, there's stuff I could nitpick, I guess, about the movie in some degrees, and there are, which I can mention, but, like, it's not enough to, like, make me hate the movie. Like, I'm not sure what's a recent example I can say of a movie that I gave a perfect rating to that I say I could nitpick on. Again, there was some movie I recently rated that was, like, perfect, like, that I could nitpick on, but it wasn't enough to ruin it. Oh, yeah, it's probably the Batman. Probably that. The Batman I gave a perfect rating to as well. I mean, there's definitely stuff I could pick on, but, like, they're not enough to ruin it. Same with this movie. There's not enough stuff in it for me to, like, pick on and say this ruined it for me. So, yeah, 10 out of 10. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Go check it out. Alright, so, yeah. If you don't want spoilers, not seen the movie yet, get out. So you don't want spoilers. So I'm going to start spoiling stuff right away. I'm going to start telling you that Goku, kills Batman. It's a big shocker. I mean, and he claims the One Ring and all that. I'm just thinking of shit off the top of my head now. Because I have like a Batman DVD set and a Lord of the Rings set just holding these up. That's why I'm thinking of that. Oh yeah. But yeah, get out of here, spoilers. Spoilers starting now. So, yeah. Anyway, okay, so yeah, the movie. The biggest surprise to me about the movie is that the fact that nobody dies at the end of the movie. No one dies at all. Like, not a single person. Like, I mean, we all went into this movie. I'm pretty sure we all went into this movie expecting someone to die. We were all very certain that Rocket would probably die, just how heavy the marketing was pushing on Rocket and some of the trailers. Like, it just seemed like he would probably die. And there were some other ones also, like Drax was one that we kind of figured that might die, just based on Dave Bautista's comments that he doesn't want to keep playing Drax anymore. He's done because he wants to do more serious stuff. So, yeah, a lot of us expected at least someone to die in this movie, and no one did, which was very shocking. But, that's the thing I could, like, pick on at first, like, where I'm like, I kind of wish someone would have died to maybe add a bit more stake at the end there, like, or not too much stake, but just enough stake to, like, add to show how much of a finality and, like, and emotional ending this is. But the more I think on it now, it doesn't really matter. I don't really need someone to die at the end. Like, I think definitely once I've watched it again. But yeah, in my opinion, will solidify more so. But yeah, I think honestly, yeah, the more I thought about it, yeah, wait, no, really don't need someone to die. Honestly, it worked without that happening because this whole factor that you need someone to die. It's sometimes in these kind of trilogy movies or like these series, the kind of solidifying like endings of the stories. It's a common thing that happens in these movies. Like say, it's like when Star Wars, with Harrison Ford said he wanted Han Solo to die in Return of the Jedi originally because he felt like that would serve the story better. Of course, he didn't. So that happens a lot. But yeah, honestly, in this film, I don't think he really did not need anyone to die. It works really well that nobody does die because it gives like this crew of like misfits who have had all terrible lives for different reasons, like Quill losing his mother and like Gamora, her whole planet being like half her planet being slaughtered, being taken in by Thanos, Nebula being tortured, Rocket being tortured, Drax losing his family. Like they all have these terrible lives, and they have this like nice new family. So it works that no one dies. It makes this like very happy ending. Very much, it works really well. And yeah, but I'll tell you, the scene though where we thought Rocket almost died, that almost going to the afterlife thing with Lila and Teefs and Floor, very emotional scene. I was definitely feeling weepy-eyed during that a little bit. I was getting misty-eyed a bit. I feel like once I watch it again, I might cry then, because like, there's times in movies I've cried more so the second time around, knowing that it is coming. So, I mean, he doesn't die, but still, it's a very sad scene. Like, happened with Guardians 2, I cried, I didn't die. No, I cried second time around watching it when Yondu dies. That time I did cry. And I cried more so second time around watching Endgame when Tony died. So yeah, I feel like the second time around I might cry a little bit more. And yeah, it was a very emotional scene. It was like, yeah, just seeing him and then seeing like Quill embrace him after he like wakes back up in Groot. It's just like, it shows how much they've come, especially with like Rocket and Peter's relationship, how they were kind of on the odds of each other a lot of times. Especially in the second film, they were kind of at each other's throat a few times until the ending where, Rocket does admit to Peter that, yeah, I was a bit of an asshole for no reason, and then Peter's like, yeah, it's not your fault. But then you see how much they've grown close. Like he calls Rocket his best friend, and Drax like, no, he's your second best friend. I'm your best friend, which is great. But yeah, I love seeing how much they've grown close, and like that's all great. And of course, it culminates in the end of the movie where the Guardians decide to all go their separate ways. Where Peter decides he needs to go back. Of course, Gamora goes back to the Ravagers. Peter makes peace with the fact that he won't be able to ever rekindle a relationship with this Gamora, which he's fine with that. And Gamora's also grown some respect and like actually did care for these guys for being on a mission with them. So like she does like them now. But yeah, so they leave on good terms and like hopefully they'll run into each other again and everything. So that's nice. But yeah, Peter realizes that now in the movie after running away from Earth for so long that Mantis helped him realize that he does have family there. He has a grandfather. That he should go back there and like not keep running away from like the problems of Earth and saying that he still loves them. He wasn't like pushing him out of like the hospital room when his mom died because he didn't love him or mad at him. It was just like just trying to look out for him. So he does that. He goes back to Earth and my nose is itchy right now. Sorry, I feel like nostril hairs like tickling it. Yeah, probably what it is. But yeah. Side note on that. But yeah, after like having that talk with Mantis and saying how you shouldn't keep running from Earth, there's families still there that love you, and like Peter always been not denial about going back because he didn't think his grandfather loved him, or like was kind of just being a jerk to him, pushing him out of the hospital room his mom died in. But more so that, as she was saying, just looking out for him, and he finally realizes at the end of the movie that what, I should stop running away from Earth and like go find my family still there and like rekindle that and reconnect it, and so he does. And then Mantis also decided that she needs to go off and kind of be her because she's always done what she did before. She did what Ego wanted her to do before, and then she started doing what the Guardians wanted her to do. But now she kind of wants to go out into the universe, explore more of her, and do what she wants to do. So she goes their separate ways. And then Nebula and Drax, they decide to also leave the Guardians and like stay on Nowhere. Nebula wants to help raise. Build a community for all these like displaced children and animals they rescue from the High Evolutionary, and she needs Drax to be like kind of like a father figure to them, like help being like a good person because she realizes that that's what he's great at. He's great with kids and he's very fun and lovable because he did have a kid originally. So she realized that that's what his best skill set is being just this loving dude to children, so she needs his help to run the place around there with him. And it leads to a sad scene where Rocket thinks the group's over then, but then Peter gives over the leadership of the Guardians over to him, saying the galaxy still needs the Guardians, and you'll make a better leader than I ever will. And Rocket's now leading the Guardians along with Groot, Kraglin, Cosmo, Adam Warlock, and the little girl whose name escapes me at the moment. I think the character what I read was a daughter of Captain Marvel, like Marvel, the original one in the comics, but that's obviously not the thing in this movie. Phyla, or like Kai Zen is the little girl's name. So my initial thought, I thought maybe she was Moondragon, who's a member of the Guardians in the comics, but I was wrong about that, so yeah, I think that's what Phyla was, like a Marvel's kid is what it was. No, Phyla Vel is a character appearing in American Comic Publishing, that's not helping me at all. Phyla Vel is the daughter of superhero Marvel and the sister of Janice Vel. Okay, yeah, so she is the daughter of Captain Marvel, so that's cleared up. Glad we all went on that together. But yeah, so that's the new Guardians team. We see they're working together, and Rocket. They of course also Quill gave him his Zoom to have music for, because we see Rocket has grown to really like music a lot now, and so now, and of course they all love the music now thanks to Peter. So he still has it. He gave it to him, and they listen to it in their next mission, which one of them being Come Get Your Love, to kind of tie it all back together, do a big circle around. And Groot's also now a more King Groot design now. He's a massive dude. He's grown big, so yeah, that's cool. I imagine we'll probably get another Guardians movie. I guess we probably will. It's not that surprising that they didn't kill, Rocket and Groot in a way. That way they can keep the CGI characters. They don't have to worry about aging. But yeah, Gunn has said that this is the last time we'll see this group of the Guardians, obviously. But he did say that he hopes that there's more. They still do more Guardians movies after that with some new director who has his own style and take and something to say. Which I hope we do. I'm interested in seeing what this Guardians team could do. Cause yeah, it'd be great to see more stuff with Kraglin, Adam Warlock, absolutely, and Phyla and Cosmo, and seeing Rocket and Groot be these mentors now, which would be great. I imagine it won't be for a good few years. Probably they'll probably let this one settle down and sit for a bit. So. Yeah, but I'll be down to see maybe more. And if we don't, I'll still be satisfied with the ending of this movie. And some other stuff. Oh yeah, like I said, so the dark stuff we got in this movie, again, like I said, the animal, experimentation already alone is super dark stuff. But then the other stuff, like one point, the High Evolutionary just genocides a planet. It's insane. He just, and they make a point to show her as a kid on that planet also, which is my God, how did Disney approve that? People talk about how, man, how did they get the F-bomb in there? That's crazy. They got an F-word in there. But I'm how did he allow the genocide plan? Literally, that's nuts he got that approved. It's wow. But yeah, it helps to show, it really helps emphasize the High Evolutionary as a character because how nuts he is. And again, to the actor's credits, I cannot pronounce his name though. He does a great job with playing that character, an absolutely fantastic job. I was a little concerned, so I was okay, will he be a good villain? Will he not be a good villain? Because it kind of can go either way. Phase 4 and 5 have been better of their villains lately. Of course, we've had people Wen Wu in Shang-Chi, or Gore the God Butcher, or who's another one I'm blanking on right now. Wanda in Doctor Strange is another one. Namor in Black Panther. I was a little concerned because we still get some bad ones every now and then, so I was worried, okay, is this guy going to be a good villain or not? And he's great as the villain. Let me try and pronounce this guy's name.
Hi, my name is Chukudi Wuji. I'm an actor based in New York. I'm originally...
Okay, that guy's name. I feel even now, if I still try to pronounce it, I'm going to butcher it. I don't want to try and do that. But yeah, he gives a great performance as the High Evolutionary, and just what I love so much about the performance as the High Evolutionary is just he's just straight up a bad dude. He's just a piece of work. He's a piece of shit. I didn't realize how much I miss seeing in movies, or just lately in comic stuff, just a really just bad villain for the sake of just being, he sucks. He's not a good person. Which, I'm not against seeing, villains who are, sympathetic and tragic and understanding them. Like Thor was great in Love and Thunder, Namor was great in Black Panther, but, even then lately, because I've been watching, I've been on a bit of a Arrowverse kick lately, like the CW stuff with Flash and Arrow and all that. But I've been thinking about also, like, I mean, lately I've been watching that show in Flash, and lately the last few seasons of that show have had, like, every villain they have to sympathize with. It's like, oh no, they're not bad, there's some good part of you. It's like every villain on the Flash, the last, like 3 seasons was like, no, you're not bad, there's something good in you, I know it. It's like, I'm not against the idea of having villains that are sympathetic, but goddamn, we are allowed to have villains who are just evil because they are just shitty people. Like, it's like, I watching this movie, I'm like, damn, I just miss villains. I did kind of miss villains who are just suck. They are just terrible blokes. I just started using an Australian or British term. I don't know. I think both Australian and British people use that term. Whatever. But yeah, he's great. He's just unapologetically terrible, and he just revels in this performance. The guy. I mean, like, every time you see him, like, scream and almost lose his top, it's so good. Like, it's just, like, you really feel, like, just this anger from this guy, and that he's kind of petty. Like, he literally at one point says how that, like, someone says somehow, maybe this is God's will, or someone says something along the lines of, like, this is God's will, it's not meant for that to be, or, like, no, I think it's, like, he says something like, there is no God, so I stepped in. Like, he has that kind of, like, God complex where he feels like he should be God, he should be micromanaging the universe and galaxy and people in that way, and, like, and he has a temper tantrum where even his own people, like, soldiers, start to turn against him and want to, like, throw a mutiny over him, and he just kills them, just straight up kills them. And just even in his final fight with Rocket, you see he's just like a spat-in, screaming, like, nutcase, which, can not work sometime with villains if just they're screaming lunatics for no reason, but it works here. It works really well because you really feel they do a great job writing this character to show that he's just unhinged. He has this, like, God complex. He has this, like, majority complex. It works really well, and you feel that he's just unhinged, and he's ready to snap at you at any minute. Like, just, it works really well. Like, it's just great. His performance sells it really well. He's definitely just one of the better villains of Marvel, absolutely. I think, in terms of, like, I guess if we're ranking them, I don't know how I would rank him. I mean, I still think, I have to, like, look through all the villains again, because, I mean, like, people like Thanos, Killmonger, and Vulture, maybe even now High Evolutionary and Gore, like, yeah, 5 best villains for me. I need to, like, rank him how I would see him. I think I need to watch the movie again, but he was great in the movie. And I love also how they treat, again, another dark thing about the movie, is his face. If you've seen the movie, of course, they take his face off, literally, and it's just this disgusting mess. It's gross, because Rocket's slashing the pieces, which, I remember there was theories when he first showed up at Comic-Con in that costume. People thought, maybe, because his face looks like, it's like, the way they have the makeup on his face, it makes it look like that's a mask he's wearing, so maybe, like, there's a more comic-accurate High Evolutionary mask underneath it. Because that was kind of the thing a lot of us were saying, how it's not really it's a good design, but it's not a great comic-accurate design. Like, it looks like they're trying to go for another Kang look in a way, like more purple armor and everything. So it kind of, like, doesn't work. And I also was kind of like, what's wrong with doing, like, the comic book faces? Like, why can't we have, like, just a purple, pink face dude? Like, even with Kang, they don't even... He just has the blue, like, face, only has, like, a mask thing, so it's like... But, I mean, I was won over by the movie in the end, because even still, like... Because, like, the character's great, so the costume itself doesn't, like, matter that much now. Plus, what they do with the face is amazing. I mean, like, seriously, like we see Rocket slash up his face in the movie early on when he was younger, after he kills Lila, and... I knew, of course, like, oh, that's why that's a mask thing he kind of has on, because like, his face got messed up. But I thought it was a few slashes he gave his face. Like, no, he really tore it apart. Like, the nose is, like, so gone. Like, just the upper lip or the lower lip is, like, just not there. It's just, like, he's just blood red. It's vicious and gross. It's like, damn. Like, how they let this slide? How did Disney be like, yeah, we'll let you do that. Like, it's kind of insane that they did let him do this stuff, because, like, it's not in their wheelhouse usually. Like, even, like, the most darkest stuff they'll do in Marvel movies, like, stuff in, like, Multiverse of Madness, I guess. I mean, there's some dark stuff in that film, and, like, in terms of how some people die, like, with Black Bolt. But even so, this is much more, like, just more visual. Like, you actually really see, like, just the grossness of that face. It's like, Like, it looks like two-face, but if we burn the other half of the face also. So it's just one face. It's just, yeah. Yeah, I quite enjoyed it. That part was great. I also love that scene where it's like just everyone gave him a good just trouncing. Like, everyone just kicked the shit out of him in that final scene. That was great. I love that. That was awesome. And even in that scene, you see Rocket. He goes to save the rest of the animals being captured there. And I guess it's really sad seeing because you see him just walk in there and save all the little baby raccoons, and then he finally learns that he is a raccoon and wasn't an insult by Quill. It's just, yeah, it's what you are. But yeah, and you see him just look around the whole room. Like, it just puts Rocket in a whole new perspective as a character. Like, you see, like, how now him being kind of an asshole a lot of the time is not, like, just because that's how he was. It's more like he was bred that way, and almost like a defense mechanism in a way. And yeah, just see him walk around that room of all the animals and, like, freeing them. Just like you saw the sadness in his face, like how they were all about to suffer the same thing. And, like, he's been doing this for years also. And, like, he's just, it hits him hard. And, like, it's a really great scene. Like, it's a great scene done with no dialogue, and it works so well. It just, all the facial emotions from this CGI character, a raccoon, and it works really well. I mean, we're all saying this joke how, man, who would have thought a movie about a raccoon in 2023 would have made me get so emotional? Because it's true. Like, I mean, that's the beauty of, like, that's the importance also there with visual effects and why you need good visual effects, which is, of course, is part of the controversy with Marvel lately and how they're treating VFX people. But when you give them time, proper time, and, like, make sure, of course, you need proper time to make sure Rocket looks good because he's going to be in, like, majority of the movie. But, well, even then, he's actually out of commission for a lot of the movie, which I was kind of surprised by, which, again, could be a thing I could nitpick, but it worked really well with the story. And, yeah, he looked great, CGI looked great, and plus also with the vocal performance by Bradley Cooper, which I don't think I've ever say this. I can never tell it's Bradley Cooper. Like, I remember that was the first time I ever saw Bradley Cooper in a movie was Guardians, and then I saw him in other movies afterwards where he was using his regular voice and interviews, and I was like, damn, it does not sound like him at all. Like, not at all. So, like, Bradley Cooper's fantastic as Rocket. I think out of all the actors in these movies, Bradley Cooper's probably the most definitive one of the bunch. Like, I think, like, I've heard other Rocket voices after the fact, like in the cartoon series and, like, a few of the video games, and none of them come close to what, like, Cooper did with the role. I think he's fantastic. And also Sean Gunn's motion capture performance. Like, it all contributes to being this a really great performance, like, from this character. It's just, it works really well. That's all amazing. And the stuff also when Lila and Teefs and Floor die, sad stuff. Like, when you hear Rocket, like, just cry out, like, it's like, it's a very ugly sounding, like, scream he lets out, like, but in a good way for, like, how it's presented in the scene. Like, the way he screams, like, it feels so raw and authentic. It's just, because it's very messy in how he screams with his tears and sadness and just the anger. It feels just so raw. I'm not sure if this makes sense what I'm saying, but it just feels raw. It just feels raw in how he's doing it. It works really well. So, yeah. And, there's other stuff in the movie, too. Like, of course, like I said, Gamora and Pete, they never rekindle a relationship. There's times they get close to it, or Peter gets close to it, but not really. And I love that also how, like, just, things just change. Like, he had that with Gamora, it was great, and now she's gone, which sucks, but, now he tried getting it back with this new version, but it didn't work, and he realized, it probably never will go back to the same way, which, I'm fine with. Like, change happens, I can accept that. There's some comfort in knowing that she's out there still, so that's nice. So, yeah, it worked really well, and I love how she does slowly learn to work with the Guardians over time. Like, she can't understand Groot for the life of her at any point in the movie, but then at the end she finally does understand him last minute, because then it starts to click in her brain again, which is really nice, really sweet moment there. And, yeah, that's great. What's another thing I can talk about in spoilers right now? There is also Nebula. Nebula in the movie, we see how much... I mean, I guess Nebula also in the movie, we see how much she changes and she evolves. Like, we see actually now more of her cyborg part of her face got removed. Like Rocket took out, the cyborg part of her eye and replaced it with something that looks more natural, which is, great. But he also gave her that, more cybernetic arm, which can, make swords and guns, which is great. And also, Nebula also changes where now she's not killing people. She realizes that, no, we don't kill people as in this job, which I think Also, great character progression for her, showing that, like, she realizes that, no, this is not the way. That Thanos made me become a killer, but I don't have to be. So, like, I think that's great also there. And also, you see her, like, relationship forge with the Guardians. Like, we see how she's, like, always arguing with Mantis and Drax a lot of time and thinks how they're both dumb and they don't add anything. But Mantis proves to her that, they both add something. Like, Mantis adds, kind of, she does, like, she puts in the work still. She always tries her best, and Drax always makes them happy and laugh. So, even if he is, stupid, which they fully call him out on, and then, like, makes him sad, but then she makes him forget it. But she does show how, he makes us laugh, and that's what we appreciate that, which, helps contribute to her seeing how he's a good with kids. And Nebula also, we see how much she's grown close with Rocket. Like, Rocket's the closest person she's with in the Guardians, how much she cries when she learns that she's okay and fine now. And, yeah, that's just great. And I mean, it makes sense that she's closest with Rocket because they spent all the time in Endgame. Like, they spent, like, 5 years together in Endgame. Like, so there's that. Plus, we saw in the holiday special how Rocket gifts her... Or no, not sorry. Nebula gifts him, like, Bucky's arm from Earth, which is fun. So, yeah. I think it's great seeing them, like, they're that close, and, like, it's awesome. I love that. And also, the other performances in the movie, also... I didn't go on over Chris Pratt yet, but, he gives a great performance. Like, when he has to get really emotional and angry, like, when he's angry to High Evolutionary and just wants to just kill him and just kick his ass for what he did for Rocket and also his allies... That's great. And also when he's just sad and, like, just breaking down, like, when Rocket almost dies. Also great. My nose is stuffed up and having a hard time talking. Yeah, all great stuff there. Just really, really well done by Pratt and all the performers in the movie. Just great stuff. And, yeah. I'm trying to think what else have I missed so far. Oh, yeah. Peter does almost die, which I thought he would. Honestly, when he jumps out of the spaceship and doesn't make it in time to, like, nowhere, and he's out in space, and his head and his cheek starts kind of almost like growing bigger. I'm like, are they about to explode his head? I'm like, how? But of course they don't. Adam Warlock said them. Which I will say one thing: it actually would have been a really nice and kind of full circle moment if, like, Gamora saved not Rocket, Star-Lord. My brain's not working. It would have been a nice moment if Gamora saved Quill in that moment instead of Warlock saving Quill. I mean, it does show, like, Warlock is redeeming himself after, they saved him on the ship and gave him a second chance, which he used it wisely there. But also, I mean, it's not a nitpick at all, but, like, it also would have been a really great scene to have maybe Gamora save Quill to show that she has grown some respect and care for them, even though it's not as it was originally, but there is some care there, so I think that would have been great. But yeah, there has been a complaint with that scene also about how, why didn't he have his mask and boots, which he'd had nowhere throughout the movie. Gunn did explain that, apparently, because we see him get destroyed in Guardians 2, which I remember, and that was the idea, they were supposed to stay destroyed, but then the Russos just gave them back to him during Infinity War, which was like, okay. And so he had the kind of workaround explanation. He explained on Twitter why he didn't have him here. He was like, oh, he left in a rush. They were on Nowhere in a drawer, but he had to leave in quite a rush because, like, Rocket was, like, dying, so, like, he needed to just go quickly, so he didn't have time to grab him. Which, does work as an explanation. I mean, yeah, sure, it does, like, I guess maybe you could have had a scene showing him put them on and get them broken on Nowhere by Warlock to at least show they are gone still. But yeah, I mean, yeah, Gunn has explained that there's stuff they did in the Avengers films he didn't necessarily agree with, that being one of them. He didn't like that. I don't think he agreed about. He didn't really agree with the idea also how they kind of made Star-Lord a bit more goofier in those movies. Like, he's a bit more dumb in the Avengers films as compared to here, which I didn't mind. I thought it worked in the Avengers films well, but it's better having him be, like, a bit more intelligent here, so that's great. And yeah, he does also admit how he was kind of like, yeah, I kind of almost doomed half the universe back in Infinity War, so that's fun. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't really mind that. I mean, again, I couldn't nitpick on how he didn't have his helmet or boots there, but, I still think it worked for the scene. It still showed, like, Adam Warlock redeeming himself and everything, so I think it still worked. So there's that. Oh yeah, and also, Peter goes back to Earth, finds his granddad, and he recognizes him immediately. Like, not even, like, doesn't even say his name. He's, like, just looks at him and is like, Peter. Like, it's been, like, 40 years since he last saw Peter, at least, and, like, he just knew immediately. And it's, like, it's a really touching scene. And, like, and the after credits scene being just him and his granddad sitting down at the kitchen, just chatting. He's eating breakfast, he's reading a newspaper. It's just nice. He's just talking about how, they're, I guess, I don't know if it's like if that's his wife, his new wife, or his caretaker, or something helping him out. I don't know who that other lady was in the house with him. I don't know. I think it's like she asked Quill if she can mow his lawn for her, and he said, yeah, sure. But it's like a nice little scene where he talks about how, I mean, I don't know why I'll do it. I'm happy to do it. But I don't know why her son can't do it. Just like he's a 45-year-old man just sitting there watching me mow his lawn. It's just a little weird. And it's like it's a fun little scene. It's a nice little scene to kind of bookend the movie. Where it's like, I saw some comments on a YouTube video about that scene saying how that's what retirement should look like to a superhero, not just, talk about how I had this amazing life. I saved the galaxy like 5 times at least, and like talk about all this cool stuff he did. It's just him chilling, eating cereal, just talking about some casual stuff like mowing lawns and eating cereal. Just, that's great, which I love that. It's awesome. And yeah, I think I've talked about everything I possibly can. I may have missed something, but yeah, I mean, it's a really great movie. Honestly, yeah, I can't think of anything else to talk about. It's an emotional roller coaster movie. It's definitely has to be my top 5 of the MCU now. Like, previously the top 5 of the MCU was, like, up there. There was, like, Endgame was up there, Winter Soldier, Volume 2, Homecoming, and what would have been 5 originally? Maybe, I don't know what 5 would have been originally. I can't quite remember. I guess maybe the first Iron Man could be number 5 originally, or even, I don't know, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. I like Wakanda Forever a lot. Or Shang-Chi. I don't know. But yeah, I think this one definitely, I think top 5 currently definitely is, Endgame. Oh no, Infinity War. How did I forget Infinity War? Infinity War was probably in the top 5 originally. But yeah, I think for now, probably top 5 could be Endgame, Volume 2 and 3, Homecoming, Winter Soldier. Oh yeah, wait. It's like, yeah, I put like 2 and 3 on here. So yeah, it's Endgame, Volume 2 and 3, Homecoming, and Winter Soldier. So yeah, top 5 for now. In no particular order. I have to like re-rank them all again at some point, so yeah. Oh yeah, that's my whole review on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. It might be a lot scattered how I was talking. It's been a while since I've done this way. Yeah, it really works better for me in these Geek Culture Talk reviews when I have Thomas here to bounce off with. But yeah. He didn't go see the movie with me, so it's just me here, so yeah. Hopefully we'll have him again on another episode soon, so yeah, 'cause we have a lot of plans. But yeah, that's my review of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Did you see it? What did you think of it? Would you rate it a perfect 10 like me? Or are you uneducated and gave it like a 5 out of 10? No, I'm kidding. I don't know. It's your opinion however you rate the film. I'm not going to knock you for it. Yeah. But yeah, of course, what did you think of the movie? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Or did you like love it like I did? Yeah, please let me know down in the comment section down below. A perfect 10 out of 10 for me. Guardians 3. It's just amazing film. Can't wait to get the Blu-ray. I am kind of debating if I want to get like a 4K copy also, or even like a steelbook copy as well. Just, yeah, I just want to get a lot of Guardian stuff now lately. Just the movie's so goddamn good. Yeah, amazing movie. So yeah, thank you for watching. Let me know what you thought of the movie down below in the comments. And yeah, I'll see you guys later for next Geek Culture Talk, which will be on something soon. So you'll have to see. So yeah, thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys all later. Goodbye. Hey, if you like that video, guess what? YouTube picked out a video just for you on the left. Or, if you want to take my advice, watch the most recent video on the right. Thanks for watching.